Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. We have had a lot going on, so I did not get to film my pregnancy updates as I wanted to regularly, but I will eventually film those because I did write down all my symptoms and I took a few short vids on my phone just so I remember all that stuff. But anyway, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. I'm Kayla from the Thefitmummydiaries and I'm currently 21 weeks pregnant with a baby girl. We're so excited. Here's Andre. Say hello.
Hi.
I've been meaning to sit down and film this video for a while, but with the kids it's been full on and I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it. So ignore probably all the noise and the boys will probably end up fighting in the background, but that's my life. That's real. So he's crazy. I just put a movie on for them, so hopefully that keeps them occupied for a little bit. Probably not, but anyway, they never want you to, every time you want to do something they're just in your face, but oh well. So for those that follow my journey through my Instagram, you would have seen that after our 12-week ultrasound, so it was 13-week ultrasound, they picked up something on baby girl. I had my 12-week ultrasound. They said everything was good. My partner couldn't come to my 12-week ultrasound, so on 13 weeks we went to a private clinic, just a clinic close by that does 3D ultrasounds and just reassurance scans and all those things. And she kind of said to me, she's like, have you had your 12-week scan? I was like, yep. She's like, okay, was everything okay? I said, yeah, everything was fine. Then 1 minute later she said it again. And then I said to her, what's going on? Is everything okay? Is there something you can see? And she said, yes. My heart instantly dropped. I was a mess. I freaked out because I had the NIPT done at 10 weeks and everything came back normal. And I know, not all chromosomal issues and all that pop up in the NIPT, but the most common ones do. So that was all good. 12-week ultrasound, they said everything was perfect. But yeah, anyway, she picked up something. What she said she originally thought it was spina bifida. She couldn't diagnose anything because she is only a boutique ultrasound, even though she's a qualified ultrasound person. She couldn't diagnose anything in that clinic because it's not for medical purposes. It's just for, just for fun. So I contacted my obstetrician, freaking out. I'm so glad that he listens to me and he's amazing. He's like, all right, come straight back in. I'm gonna get a copy of your 12-week ultrasound and I'm gonna go over them, because what happens when you've got a private obstetrician, you get your 12-week scan done through an ultrasound place and then they send them through a report. So they don't actually send all the images, they just send a report. So my report said, yep, everything's fine, everything's perfect, blah blah blah. So he requested the images. He went over the images himself. Again, he's not qualified to pick up these things in images, but he's seen it as well. So at that time, it was quite a big lump, about 1.5 centimeters. I know that sounds tiny, but for a baby that's this big, that's, a big lump. It was a big lump on the bottom of the spine. And he kind of said to me, he couldn't diagnose anything. He kind of said, look, it could be spina bifida, but I'm going to get you straight into the maternal fetal medicine unit at John Hunter and they will go over everything with you. So next day, I had the scan the Tuesday night, called him the Tuesday night. I was in with him Wednesday morning, and then Wednesday afternoon I went to the maternal fetal medicine unit. That appointment was horrible. So at this stage I was 13 weeks pregnant, went into the maternal fetal medicine unit, had an ultrasound. The scan went for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. It was such a long scan. They did internal, external. Then they brought another ultrasound person in and she re-scanned me, did all the same images. They just wanted to have two opinions on it. And then so they did all that. They kind of didn't talk much. You can't really ask them much. They're really blunt on that stage. You're just gonna have to wait to see the specialist after you have your scan done. So after I had my ultrasound done, which it was horrible as well because I had to go in alone because of COVID. Tim wasn't allowed to come in, so I was already a mess. And then yeah, so went into the room with the doctor, and she basically told me they're 99% sure that baby girl has something called a oh my god, I'm gonna look up how it's pronounced because I say it wrong every single time. Sacrococcygeal. I cannot say the word anyway. Called a SCT for short. I'm horrible at pronouncing things, and that is just a tongue tie for me, so I'm not going to try again. So a SCT. Now this is so rare, it affects 1 in about 40,000 to 50,000 babies, so extremely unlucky. So that obviously broke my heart because like I finally thought I was going to have a smooth sailing pregnancy, you know, apart from morning sickness and all that. So they told me that news, and I kind of asked. So the night before I was doing a whole heap of research, and that's what kept popping up when I put in like all the symptoms, like from the images, like going off the images, this teratoma kept popping up, and I was like, I'm pretty confident it's that. Like they, you know, didn't say anything about spina bifida at my 12-week ultrasound. So yeah, they diagnosed her with the SCT. Now hers is completely external, which is best case. So basically, so there's like baby, just say this is baby's body, these are baby's legs, and it's kind of like a ball, like a tumour that grows off the bottom of the spine, kind of like where the tailbone is, so it grows off the tailbone. Hers is completely external, which is best case. Some of these are completely internal, some are partially internal, partially external. So hers is completely external. Basically at that appointment they told me, like John Hunt is a major hospital here as well, so that's the closest major hospital to us. They basically told me, you know, they've dealt with a couple over the years, probably a dozen in the, like, you know, 15 years of working. And she basically told me, you know, 50-50 chance of baby making it. But, you know, that wasn't good enough for me because every case is so different. And a lot of these people decided to terminate their babies. So to class that as a baby that, you know, didn't make it through this condition, that didn't count to me. I think, yeah, out of the 12 babies, 6 were terminated, 4 were born, surgery, fine, and 2 passed away, but they were quite sick from quite, you know, very early in the pregnancy. So, you know, my baby's so far so healthy. She's just got this tumour. Now this tumour, you know, has no impact on her body, like she has no other disabilities, no other chromosomal issues. It's legit just a tumour growing off her spine. So, you know, that's great. They don't know what the cause is. It's just kind of their germ cells, so it happens in the embryonic stage. So there's no cause, no cure, which is horrible. And, you know, I don't know why. So that was hard to take in. Basically, they told me to terminate my baby. They said because hers was picked up so early, you know, she didn't have a good chance, but, you know, she was perfectly healthy at the time. So why would I terminate? Like, I'd rather, if she's going to pass away, I'd rather her pass away inside of me. I'd never, you know, I know, like, to me, I could not terminate a pregnancy. Like, that's just me, you know, each to their own. I never thought I'd be in this position, and it, you know, it's been a lot for me mentally. I didn't cope when I was obviously told all this news. It was a lot. So I said no, I declined that. They wanted to do an amnio where they take fluid from my womb. They said, you know, if you're pretty keen on continuing the pregnancy, we probably won't do that unless you want to, because there are further risks with that, with your waters rupturing, preterm labour, blah, 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 blah. So I decided not to do that because so far she was looking super healthy except for this big tumour, which, you know, isn't great. But anyway, so we told them, no, I'm going to continue with the pregnancy. We'll monitor how this, you know, grows. 24 weeks I have an MRI, so that's coming up in 3 weeks. So that will tell us a little bit more about the tumour, about the components inside the tumour. I'm monitored. I'm at John Hunter every fortnight, and then I go down to Sydney at RPA, Royal Prince Alfred Hospital in Sydney, every fortnight. So I'm kind of like week on rotation. So a week at John Hunter, week at RPA, week at John Hunter, week at RPA, blah, blah, blah. So I'm monitored by 2 different maternal fetal medicine units, which is really good because I get 2 opinions. The risks with this tumour, like, it's been growing roughly a centimetre a week. So at the moment I'm 21 weeks. It's about the size of a head, maybe a little bit smaller. So it's going to be quite big. Some babies are born with tiny ones. These tumours are bigger than the babies. So you can't predict how big they're going to grow. They can go through growth spurts. They can stop growing. It's just, they're all so different. So hers is a mixture of solid and cystic component, and what that means is it's just solid, so skin, like tissue, and then fluid filled bits, which can be just water, blood. The main risk with these tumours are the amount of blood it takes from the baby. So there's the tumour and it takes blood from the baby. There's like, yeah, arteries, veins that go to the tumour, and it takes blood from the baby. So hers from the start, and I pray to God that it stays this way, has been little blood flow. So there is arteries and veins to the tumour, but not much at all, and it hasn't changed yet, touch wood. At the moment her heart's coping fine, there's no fluid in her body, my amniotic fluid levels are good, so that's great. Some of these tumours have a lot of blood flow to the tumour, which can make baby very sick, and that's why a lot of babies do pass away from this. It's called hydrops, where baby's heart starts working too hard because it's supplying all the blood to the tumour. Basically the tumour's just pulling all the blood from baby, and baby's heart works too quick, and then baby's heart eventually stops. So that's why I am monitored very closely. We were offered fetal intervention, which was called an ablation. It's like laser therapy. So what they do is they pop a needle into your belly, couple of needles. So say hers has 3 like arteries to it, which are small, so they'd have to put 3 needles in my belly through the tumour, and they zap the artery to stop it from taking blood. The risks there was too many risks with it, you know, with the waters rupturing. There was 3 needles they had to put through. Baby can bleed out, baby can become anemic. So while she's growing and perfectly healthy, perfectly fine, the tumour's not bothering her at the moment, we decided we're not going to do that. There's just too many risks. If she did start to become sick and they thought she wasn't going to make it, if it's before 24 weeks, so before they, you know, babies make it to viability, they will try something, because if they don't try, you know, she will pass away. But we've got that option up our sleeve if worse comes to worse. Our first milestone for us is getting to 24 weeks, then 28 weeks, and then 30 weeks. The rate her tumour's kind of growing, if it keeps growing at this rate, we're looking at delivery before 32 weeks. But you know, my main goal's 28 weeks. At the moment my amniotic fluid levels are really good, which is great, because obviously, you know, there's this tumour in my body. My uterus thinks that baby's a bit further along than what it is. So polyhydramnios is also really common, which polyhydramnios is extra fluid in your womb. I actually had that with Andre, and it was pretty horrible. I delivered at 36 weeks and I was measuring about like 45 weeks, they said. So I was huge. So I know what that feels like. So I'll know if I get symptoms. Another common thing with these SCT pregnancies is preeclampsia. So I've got to monitor my blood pressure. At the moment it's been low, which isn't fun, but it's better than it being high. Yeah, monitoring my bloods. They monitor baby's heart weekly. I've got the weekly appointments between the 2 maternal fetal medicine units, and then they also do stress tests on baby's heart just to make sure it's fine. 20-week scan was perfect. She's growing perfectly. She's measuring like 5 days ahead, which is great. Brain activity is good, bladder, bowels, blah blah blah, heart, everything's perfect. So it's just this tumor, but you know, what can you do? It's horrible, but she's a fighter, and I feel like she's gonna be fine. I just know we've got a long road ahead of us with this, and as soon as she's born she will go into surgery. So what they do is as soon as she's born, they wait like a couple of hours until they've stabilized a bit more, just breathing. Even if they're not breathing on their own and they're on breathing support, they still can have the surgery. They've just got to get the tumor off pretty quickly if it is of a larger size, which at the moment hers is, but it's got limited blood flow to it, so that's a good sign. Do the surgery, and what they do, they cut it off and they do it in a V shape, so you barely notice the scar. They're pretty amazing, and if they do need reconstructive surgery around the scar, that's done at about 5 years old usually, and then obviously plastic surgery. But the fetal surgeons that I've met with, I've also met with a couple of fetal surgeons at a few different hospitals, Westmead, RPA, John Hunter I was really happy with, so we'll stick with them. Like, I think that's where I'm going to deliver. My obstetrician can deliver. I'll just go through being a private patient at a public hospital, which is fine. They've got the NICU and they've got a lot better facilities obviously than a private hospital, so we're happy to do that. That's what's got to happen. I'm just so happy that my obstetrician will, you know, has agreed to come to the public hospital, because he doesn't usually deliver at public. So, and he's amazing. He's delivered both my boys, done a ton of other, you know, surgeries for my endometriosis and other issues, so that makes me feel a bit better that he'll get to deliver baby. Now, the type of cesarean I have to have a cesarean is, so it will be a full classical cesarean, but it will be to my sternum, so it's going to be a very rough recovery. So basically they cut me straight from my sternum down, just so the tumor doesn't rupture when it comes out, so they can get it out safely. And so so just for baby safety, and that's fine. I know that, you know, that's a rough recovery for me, but that's totally fine as long as she can come out safely. So I've got to watch for the polyhydramnios as well, because a lot of people's waters break early, and if my waters break early, that will be pretty critical, especially because of the tumor. So that's kind of all we know at the moment. We're just monitored weekly. At the moment the tumor is about 7 centimeters by 7 centimeters by 6 centimeters, so a bit smaller than baby's head, but it's pretty big. But it's good. I feel her move around and jump around every day, and you know, she's always annoys the ultrasound techs because she doesn't stay still. So the MRI should be fun. They told me that takes about 60 to 90 minutes depending on baby's cooperation, and I feel like she just won't cooperate, but that's alright. I'm scared. I hated getting the last MRI I had, like, I think I was 15. And I don't know how I'm going to lay flat while I'm pregnant, so I hope they kind of accommodate to that. But yeah, other than all that, I'm feeling quite good. I just get a bit more sore, you know, walking around, because I feel like this is my 3rd pregnancy, so my body knows, you know, what it's doing, so you get all symptoms a lot earlier. I can't be on my feet for too long, but I can still do everything. Bit sore. I'm looking huge, but amniotic fluid levels are good, so I know it kind of freaked me out because I thought, oh my god, the tumour's grown heaps and my fluid's gone up because I kind of just popped overnight, and I look huge. I look like I'm 30 weeks pregnant, not 21, but all good, so that's good. My exhaustion's kind of came back, which is hard because I'm working a lot. I'm just trying to work as much as I can right now before baby and Christmas and all that stuff. But yeah, I will document my journey on here. Sorry, it's taken me a little while to post. You know, the first couple of weeks I was a bit of a mess. I just yeah, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know. It was just probably the hardest couple of weeks of my life. So, but I'm ready to talk about it now. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.